Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really delighted about today's guest, Dr. Bradford Carlton. He's actually a former attorney, but for the audience today, especially the doctor, lawyer, dentist, the non-techie, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, trying to understand AI, how you can use AI, especially in the areas of automation. Bradford is the one to talk to today, coming out of Las Vegas, and I'm really happy to have him on. Bradford, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. And briefly chronicle your journey because you are a former attorney and now you're into AI, and I'm really interested in hearing your story.
Certainly. So I'll try to give you the abridged version. I'm well practiced at my origin story, but so I was an attorney in Ohio. My wife and I had a law practice. Before that, I was actually the youngest named partner in the state of Ohio. At age 27, I wrote the literal book on the subject of elder law, which is a little ironic being 27 years old and writing a book on elder law, but it is what it is. From there, we springboarded into having our own law practice. And being young and hip with the times, we figured this whole social media thing might be a good way to advertise. And we ended up growing one of the fastest growing firms in the state. We had the entire top floor of an office building, multiple attorneys, staff members, the whole shebang. And everything was hunky dory. And for a few years until my daughter decided to be born a little early. She was a little bit of a preemie and my wife had some complications, but everybody pulled through. It was a little spotty, but they pulled through. And as they're putting the baby on my wife's chest, she looks at me and goes, I don't want to go back to work. I'm done. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but your name is on the door and you're the trial attorney for the firm. So that was the end of my law practice. And I never really wanted to be an attorney. I told you backstage why, but so I figured, okay, I switched from business law to doing from elder law to business law. So I figured business law to business coaching and consulting is probably pretty the same, right? Little did I know, I struggled to get a couple clients in Ohio. It wasn't great, but then we moved to Las Vegas 6-7 years ago. And when I got here, I joined up with a consulting firm and they made me their president 2 weeks after meeting me. And like, here I am, having just been an attorney, somewhat successful at it, but had never really been a business consultant. And now I'm running an entire consulting firm. We're doing business all over the world. I've got investors coming to me and they're asking me all these questions I don't know the answers to. And thankfully, one of them looks me in the eye and goes, "You don't have a clue what you're doing, do you, Brad?" I'm like, "I do not." And he said, "Okay, in that case, we're going to teach you." And so all these investors decided that I was now their protege and they were teaching me everything they needed to know. I ended up leaving that firm, starting my own consulting practice. Been doing that for about 6 years now. And in that time, I've started a couple online brands. I've gained hundreds of thousands of followers, tens and tens of millions of views, and all that fun stuff. But it wasn't until AI came out in November 2022, we had ChatGPT 3. I sat there and I'm like, wow, this is the future. This is it. This is the thing everybody needs to know and nobody knows it yet. And so I just started building all my content off of it, teaching everybody I possibly could. I went to this one networking event and I had lost my voice the night before. But I had so many hours of video of myself that I uploaded it to a service called 11 Labs, cloned my voice, went to this networking event. And anytime anybody asked me anything, I would just type out my answer and it would speak in my voice. And everybody around was like, "That's Bradford. That's him." And so I've been on this journey. And the whole time I'm like, it would be really helpful if I could actually make apps or make automations or do stuff for my own business rather than just having stuff written out by ChatGPT 3 and 4 eventually. And so last year, December 2024, I sat down and I'm going to learn how to code. This is it. No technical background whatsoever in coding or tech. And I failed absolutely miserably at it. It was terrible. I couldn't figure out anything. The ifs and thens, sure, it's simple logic, but the actual language I couldn't get. So I'm sitting there. I'd spent 3 weeks trying to do this. And I came across this platform called N8N, which is a low-code visual builder. And so the coding is almost non-existent. I don't have to know how to code to use it. But it's basically just Legos. I stick a couple Legos together and I have an automation for my business. And so here I am, I'm just building. And my wife looks at me and goes, "You can't just play, you have to go sell." So I'm like, "Okay, dear." And so I took all my workflows and all the bots and automations I built and I went out there and I built a new online brand. And that's how I ended up here today.
Interesting. Moving the conversation forward is the people that come to you, obviously they're struggling with AI. What are they? Are they business owners,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs? Are they doctor, lawyers trying to learn it? Who
It's
comes to you?
it's all of the above. It really is largely it's the solopreneurs. I do get some mid-sized businesses coming in. I don't want to deal with large enterprise companies. I don't have the technical background to do anything for them, so that's cool. But it is largely the solos, the small teams, and it's simple things. Like they just need something to process their data. They need something written a certain way. And yeah, they have something on Chat GPT that'll do it for them, but it'd be really helpful if they could just have the spreadsheet feed the data in and then output it the way they want. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll take me half an hour to build for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is the number one struggle or the top three struggles that people are having? Is it just they don't know where to start, or they were trying to learn a specific aspect? What are they wanting to learn from you?
Before we came on, I told you I'm not really an AI guy. I'm not techie. I'm a business guy. And the number one thing that I see over and over again, it's number two and three, is people just don't have processes in place. They don't actually know how to do their business. So they know how. They instinctually go do this, then this. But if I ask them, okay, how do I get the information in? What systems are you using? These three and maybe a few more. What are they? I need to know to be able to figure out if I can get it into the automation. Then how do you process it? What's the exact steps you take? Where's your SOPs? I wish I had those. That's it. Number one, two, and three is just processes. If you don't know how you do your business, you can't automate your business.
Yeah. Interesting. And so for a lot of the people that feel overwhelmed, because you mentioned like 11 labs and
Yeah.
creating your own AI avatar, people are just freaked out by this. How do you recommend they get started? What process? What's the simplest, like 1, 2, 3 process that they could do that could save them an hour or two per week?
Sure. I would probably do exactly what I did and go get something like N8N, which is a platform. There's others that are visual builders, but I like N8N. It's just the one I decided to go with. And then find one task that you do that has data coming in somehow, whether it's from a spreadsheet or a document of some type. What process does an AI normally do for you with it? And then where do you need it output? So that could be a spreadsheet, it could be a document, it could be an email. And then that's only a couple little pieces. If you can put those together, not too hard to do, now you have something that you can build on. And that's the way I've been looking at the whole time is I wasn't just building a tool. I was building a tool that I could then attach to something else and then attach to something else. And eventually I have an entire executive assistant suite now that handles not only my email and my calendars and all that, but I take my notes in it. Those notes get turned into tasks. I take those tasks and I say, on this task number, go do this. And then it goes and does it. It's like a real executive assistant just based on little pieces that I built every single day.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And how does, and assume NADIN, I've never heard, but
Yeah.
for the users and the listeners, we'll put the links in the show notes. A lot of people use like Zapier. How is it different?
It's pretty much the same. It'll replace Zapier.
Interesting. And
I'll admit, I've never used Zapier in that way. Every now and then I had to hook up a thing here and there, and it's a Zap, right? But the full blown automation like this was new for me. And so I had looked at Zapier in the past. I'm like, the visual builder aspect of it, what made it simple. Because computing automation is just logic. And I homeschool my daughter. We took a simple logic class on YouTube, and he says, oh, there's the operators and or and if then. I'm like, okay, I understand that. And if you can understand that, you understand automation.
interesting. And a follow-up question
Mhm.
I have for you is what is the price difference between someone that uses Zapier versus NADIN?
So if you are more technically inclined than I am, you can use N8N for free. So it's the letter N, the number 8, and then the letter N. So N8N.
Uh-huh.
And it's open source software. It's available to self-host. I don't do that because I'm not inclined enough to figure out how. For the platform, the version of it I use, it's $60 a month, but there's a lower tier for less automations. I'm at this point 8 months in building automations for my business. I usually do something like 8,000 runs of some automation every month.
Interesting.
And that's now a task I don't have to do. It's a task my team doesn't have to do. It does it and I get an output.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
The other question is, can you walk us through one of your favorite invisible employee workflows, something a listener could build or use themselves?
Oh, that's an interesting one because there's just so many different use cases, right? There's so many different businesses that could use different things. Probably the one that gets the most traction is just a LinkedIn posting bot. So what you do is you just tell it what kind of topic you want to talk about. You can give it as much or as little detail as you want. It'll draft something for you. It presents that to you. And I use Slack. So I've hooked it up to Slack. It sends me a message in Slack with here's your draft. And then it tells me how it's going to, if it thinks it needs updated, if it does need updated, it tells me some suggestions on how to make it punchier or more attractive. I say, that sounds good. Go ahead and make those updates. And it redrafts it for me with all those suggestions included. I say, go ahead and post it. And it posts it right onto LinkedIn, just like that. If I wanted to, I could fully automate that. I try to stay within the terms of the different social media platforms by not being a bot. So I just have 10 a.m. every morning. I would normally just go, this is what I'm talking about. And boop. And within a minute, I posted on LinkedIn.
Interesting. Fascinating. So the other question I have for you is, what are for entrepreneurs, and what should they automate right now to save time and make more money? What are the first 2 to 3 things?
So to save time and make more money, slightly different things. To save time, one thing you can do is Google Maps has a publicly available API, which it stands for Application Programmable Interface. It's not necessarily important. Like I didn't know what it meant until 2 months ago. All I knew is I could connect to Google Maps. And so you can connect to Google Maps. You put in some information of the zip codes you're looking for, the types of businesses you want to reach out to, and gives you a whole list of everybody in the area. And now you have a lead list. You can go out and reach out to them. To be able to make more money, I guess that falls into that one as well. Data input. Just this morning, I got an email for someone posting for a job application. They were looking for someone to do data entry. And I'm sitting there, maybe I should reach out and say, hey, I'll build a bot for you instead, because whether it comes in the form of an email or a spreadsheet or handwritten notes, AI can now upload that and then process it however you need and then put it however you want. So that's probably the number one use case right now for automations. It's just the easiest thing to do. And those are the jobs that are going to get disappeared first. Is just there's not going to be anybody to do data entry because all you have to do is scan a document and it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. The next question I have for you is, what's the biggest mistake business owners make when trying to use AI or automation tools?
This goes back to processes. They don't know what they're doing. So I have a community that people come in and they're asking me for tech support largely. I'm just there for guidance. And which is funny because I'm not a tech guy, right? But they come in and their issue is that they want to build these really big, long, super complex, run their entire company automations. And they don't have a clue how to put two things together so that it actually talks to each other. Start simple. Start with little itty bitty things that you can build on. I made a goal for myself when I first started this whole thing that I was going to try to build one new bot a day, just one bot. And some of those bots may be adaptations of a bot that I've just built. And by doing so, I now have my executive assistant is 31 giant workflows, all hooked together in different ways, that all I have to do is communicate with it via Slack, and it does pretty much anything I need in my business.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
The other question is, this really, if you understand these tools, you can automate and save yourself. Talk about because a lot of people that you have a school community and that teaches people how to automate business AI and what members get or the value that they receive.
Certainly. Like I said, I've been building these things since roughly January. And so my wife told me to get out there and sell. So instead of selling, I decided I'm just going to give it away for free. All of it. Everything I make, I give away for free. So every week I put out new bots, new workflows, new automations, new tools, new ways to be able to use the platform. And I just keep giving, because the way I see it is in 6 months, 2 years, this is all going to be ubiquitous. If you're not on the AI bandwagon yet, it's coming for you. There's no escaping this. We're going to have to figure it out one way or another. So if I'm able to get people ready for it faster, all the better. And then I do have the paid community where I make myself more available. I do the tech support. I have higher level or more advanced automations on that side. But in the free community, we just broke 1,000 people this week in the community. And I give away something like 40 different automations already right there. So no one has to start from scratch. You're going to be able to start from my examples and then build whatever you need.
Yeah. Final question is, how can people connect with you and learn more about how to use these? And again, a lot of people are scared of these. What are the biggest myths about AI and small businesses that you wish people would stop believing, and how you help them?
Man, I used to be an attorney. My first thought was objection, compound question. So, how can they find me? They can find me. You just search for me online, Bradford Carlton. I'm everywhere. You can find my YouTube channel. I've got a ton of resources, training materials. You can access from my YouTube to get to my school community to get any of these automations. You can go to my website, bradfordcarlton.com. Your other question was what?
The biggest myths that you wish people would stop believing.
The biggest myth that I wish people stop believing is that they have to be techie to do this. Like, I was not techie. So as far as my technical computer aptitude went, was I had built a computer when I was 12 years old with my dad, but that was like putting Legos together. That had nothing to do with the software side. I didn't understand software. I never considered myself a software guy. To be able to use AI, you have to just think logically. That's it. There's nothing more complicated than that. I need to go from my Google Sheet, have an AI read it, and then output it this way. That's it. If you can
Yeah.
think like that, then you can use AI in your business and you can start replacing your employees.
Interesting. Really fascinating conversation. I really enjoyed talking with you and just picking your brain. And
Absolutely.
I'm actually gonna try some of these things out as well. So
They're really cool. Once you start into it, man, you don't want to stop.
yeah, excellent. Thanks so much for coming on again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.